So I am a proud first-generation college student born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. I didn't come from money. I did not have education-based role models in my family. I suffered from no motivation. However, I am standing before you today a positive example, a positive product of the higher education system. The knowledge that I gained, the success I experienced, is attributed to 3 different types of college institutions: an associate's degree from a community college, a bachelor's degree from a 4-year public college, and a master's degree from a private university. The diversity, or private universities, the diversity that colleges bring, both in terms of the demographics of people, along with the wealth of opportunities and resources, allowed for this now first-generation college graduate to actually learn and want for more. I attribute all of my success, motivation, confidence, actual abilities to be proactive and speak before you all today, to one factor: the power and promise of college mentors. The start of my journey is what I like to call the most frustrating aspect of college: the transition. Let's break this down. High school to college. We go to high school for 4 years. One day we graduate. The next day we are essentially a college student. Adjust. Doesn't happen that way. At least not for me, it didn't. My parents did not go to college. I struggled to navigate the system. However, as someone who is first generation, I knew I could not mess around with college. This is a rare opportunity, and to quote Lin-Manuel Miranda, who plays Hamilton on Broadway, I am not throwing away my shot. Because of this changed mindset, I started to see people actually recognizing this piece of clay ready to be molded. I had a changed mindset, I was willing to put in the effort, and I was genuine in my approach. Josh A. was my admissions counselor who helped me transition from high school to community college. Lori from Service Learning allowed me my first opportunity in terms of service to gain leadership, to gain that confidence. And lastly, Wendy from Career Services showed me how to advocate for myself by putting everything on paper and then getting ready for the future post-college. Even though I started to experience a little bit of the success, and through their consistency and their kindness, I started recognizing my potential, I still had that self-doubt. And the reason why is because during my time in high school, I did nothing. I was the epitome of the average Joe. I went to class, I went to a few meetings here and there. Otherwise, I was focused on having fun. I don't know if it was from the lack of foundation, from the fact that I am first generation. I don't know if it's basic teenage ignorance, but I didn't do much. So as I starting to have this success in college, that self-doubt still lingered. And when we break this down, if you're doing college correctly, it's a massive balancing act. You're maintaining friends, trying to make new friends. You have harder classes with increased workload. You have higher expectations from individuals who work at a college. When you think about it, it's a good thing. You want people to think highly of you, therefore have those higher expectations. Internships, possible jobs, clubs and organizations on campus. That to me was a different perspective to take in mind, considering I didn't have much of that in high school, at least from my experience. It wasn't until I met Dave from first year experience, who ended up becoming my college father, that I started having that mentor, along with some of the other ladies I just mentioned, who could help me align my path. Dave allowed me to ask him questions. Dave allowed me to vent to him when I was overwhelmed. And most importantly, he allowed me to cry once in a while. Because as someone who is first generation, I wanted so badly to be better. I wanted so badly to get that success, but I had no idea how to achieve it. Most of my life was just having fun and relaxing, as opposed to really putting in that long-term discipline. Because of these individuals, I ended up graduating with honors from community college. I transferred. I went to a 4-year school. I had my credits transferred correctly, and I continued to do well because of these lessons. However, due to the fact that these things were so fresh, this discipline, this newly minted effort, I started seeing the cracks in the foundation. All of the success I didn't have in high school, I now had in college. A high GPA, opportunities on campus as well as off campus. I finally had money from working in which I could go out with my friends, in which I could take girls out on dates from once in a while. And because of this, I had no idea how to properly fixate it now that some of these mentors were no longer there by my side on a consistent basis. I did not end up graduating in 4 years with my bachelor's. I graduated in 4.5. And here's why. Because I started having that success, or at least that my version of success, which was trying to make up for lost time, I ended up forgetting what brought me to the dance, that new mindset, which was focus on school and the opportunities will come. I ended up walking in my ceremony, but finding out after I failed one of my final classes. And I had that suspicion. In all honesty, I didn't really show up to a lot of the classes. Sitting down, seeing on the computer screen, A, et cetera, and then you find out that failing grade, I allowed myself to feel those emotions from the lessons I had from my mentors thus far, which is, you can feel the shame, you can feel the fact that you kind of didn't focus on the correct things, but because of these lessons, become proactive, make the action plan, move forward. So I re-enrolled in that class that I didn't do correctly, got it done the right way, used that momentum in conjunction with the lessons I learned from these individuals, springboarded straight into a master's program while getting a position which paid for most of my master's degree. And I don't say this to brag or boast. I say this because of that impact that mentors have. One of the last lessons or last aha moments I experienced in college was actually the work of Randy Pausch. And for those of you who don't know who Randy Pausch is, may he rest in peace. He was a Carnegie Mellon professor. He has YouTube videos, books, and even scholarships named after him. And he became famous outside of his charisma due to the mission that he held on the idea of achieving your dreams while helping others achieve theirs. And unfortunately, he passed away due to the effects of cancer, but I remember literally seeing him on the big screen in college thinking, I'm about to graduate college, or at least I thought I was, and along this path right now, I had my versions of Randy. I had Josh A, I had Lori, I had Kevin, I had Dave, I had all these individuals helping me along my path, whether I was too naive, too ignorant, too arrogant, too ambitious. They listened to me, and through their consistency and through their kindness, I was able to slowly realign my path when I ended up having that adversity. Now, my life has actually come full circle. I graduated high school 9 years ago, this month as a matter of fact. I now work in a position at a college in New Jersey in which I get to see pieces of clay on a daily basis, and I get to help them mold and polish their potential along their way. Now, someone who I haven't really talked about in detail thus far, or at least mentioned, is Kevin. Now, the focus of this talk is the power and promise of college mentors. But without me knowing, in my naive teenage sense of self, I actually had a high school mentor all along. Towards the end of my time in high school, Kevin was actually my history teacher and my high school sociology teacher. He and I ended up becoming friends. He is the reason why I ended up choosing education and social science for my degrees. And on a fun side note, I will actually be officiating his wedding this summer. Yes, I'm just as surprised as you are. One of the things I noticed towards the end of my time in college, especially as I started to notice this adversity and trying to reflect back, is so many people devalue themselves. They will ignore their potential. They will dismiss some of the evidence of the actual momentum, the potential they have, and hold on to this low self-esteem. I'm one of those individuals. My story is that of the individual who actually flies under the radar, but because I became the product of people's belief, I was able to become proactive, to believe in myself, and then as a result come full circle and now work at an institution that I get to do that every day. And it's fascinating. It's fascinating to see people not recognize their potential, but you see it, and you can help them along their path. So I want to end today's talk with actually a quote from the very own civil rights leader Malcolm X. Education is actually the passport for the future, in that tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Now, with that said, I actually want to challenge anyone who's watching this video in the future, as well as individuals in the audience today. Embrace your potential, embrace the unknown, but in doing so, seek guidance from individuals who are currently mentors and who could possibly be mentors in the future, because they can help you along your journey. Thank you very much.